All right, it is November 24th. A couple updates this week. So work, I don't think there's basically anything to update on for work. So we'll keep this is probably gonna be a shorter update. The last couple of weeks we just had, a lot of stuff going on with work. So yeah, Microsoft things are good. Happy. Let's move on. Meal Coach is probably a pretty quick update. So a little bit in terms of taking action, less than I was hoping for this past week, except um, like I have a couple of things going on which I think are good and I'm happy about. So uh, I'm trying to get back in. I'm like I've mentioned before in these videos, right? Like I'm really bad at the cold call, reach out, like being kind of salesy. So there was one person on LinkedIn in particular that that was pretty engaged, seemed interested, but I think that she's quite busy. So just trying to arrange for a time to get on a call. But I don't even think she's even read my last messages over the past week, even though she suggested the call. So, like she offered doing it. So I don't think that she's not interested. I suspect that she's just busy, which is fine. But the bodybuilder for my coach, one of the pros, um, he's like we chatted like last week, this week. I can't remember exactly when, but uh, just to basically clarify that he's like got a couple things. He's going out. I think he's going out of state and then coming back. So we agreed that like next week, this week coming up, um, that we'll sit down to chat. So he's not not dodging me. He even said like he's felt bad, like he's felt like he has been dodging me prior to this, and he's like that's not my intention. So he's like I do want to sit down and go through things. So that's positive. It's just lining things up. So I'm I'm on call next week, which sucks, but fortunately my on-call shift only goes till 6 p.m. So it shouldn't interfere too much. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna try to get some FaceTime with him. The other cool thing about that is that uh, because I have a bodybuilding show that's in April and I start prepping in a week, he's the posing coach. He's like the one of the local guys that does all the posing classes and stuff. So um, and for where I'm at in terms of posing, like he does public and private classes, like I need the private classes to catch up, which means I will be having time with him, right? So in terms of scheduling, like I'm gonna be getting FaceTime with him, so that's good. But okay, a couple other things that are important. One is trying to reintroduce some like cold emails, and I got some tools that were put in front of me, like some things to help source contacts and things like that. And then I know there's some tools that you can send emails in bulk and stuff, but I guess what's been fascinating to me is like as I started to try and put a list together of people to reach out to, I wanted to get in touch with my other engineer that I work with on this project and kind of say like, hey, like he's put together some videos and stuff, like he's done a lot of the front end work, uh, and I wanted to kind of lean on him to be like, hey, like what are your thoughts for like some of this outreach we're doing? Like, should we put a link a video? Like, how do we how do we maximize our time in front of people if they're opening up these emails? But he's been busy this past week, and so we're gonna meet Sunday. So I haven't had that conversation with him yet. But as I was going through this process and like kind of uncovering a little bit more information about sending out these cold emails, I realized the scale that we're talking about. I was trying to get a list of like 20 to 50 people, like really like hone in and find like a good, 50 people would be incredible, 20 people. And I'm realizing like people are talking about thousands or tens of thousands of emails to send. And I'm kind of like, oh crap, like I don't know. I don't know if I was thinking about things the same way. So, um, there's a couple other tools that I'm looking at that help with that. And unfortunately, they cost, but the reality is like this is intended to be a business. And just because it's not generating money, like I'm paying every month to run everything in the cloud and stuff. So, and it's hundreds of dollars in hosting. So if we have to go spend money to to actually get engagement, pardon me, I don't know what's going on with my voice. We have to go spend a few $100s to get engagement and stuff. Like we tried running ads already and spent a few $100s and got nowhere. So I think the few $100s to do This is probably going to be a lot more successful, especially because we were seeing when we were doing messages and just reaching out to people, we had like 11% conversion, which is, I'm pretty sure for anyone who's done this, like pretty outrageous and like it's high. And I doubt our emails will be that good, but I think if we craft a good message, like I think we have something that's really valuable. So I think if we can display that to people and just kind of get their interest, it'll be helpful. And again, we're not at the point where we're trying to get people to buy it. We just want people to try it. We want to put it in front of them so we can get their feedback. So I don't think I'm gonna aim for 10,000. Like that's a, I just feel like if we had 1% of those people respond, that's 100 people. Like I don't even know if I can handle working with 100 people. So I think if we start with 1,000 and we had 1% respond or something, then that's going to be a lot more manageable for us. So, yeah. So the other thing is the tools take time to kind of get up and running. So we're going to meet this Sunday and we'll probably see that over the next few weeks or so, we're able to kind of craft those outreach emails and start acting on them. So I'm very excited about that. I'm just nervous, but I feel like it's a good mix of things that I'm not good at that kind of stuff, but it's a good mix because I'm not necessarily, I feel like when I'm messaging people, it just feels really gross. So an email's not so bad. But yeah, I think that's it for Meal Coach. We've had a little bit of, oh no, there's a little bit more, sorry. We've had a couple of organic subscriptions, which is sweet. I don't think we've traced back, like, if we know where they're coming from yet, because maybe we should double down on those areas. But there's, from being on Twitter, I'm trying to be a little bit more engaged on Twitter for dev leader stuff. And there's a lot of build in public people tweeting on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and they listed off a couple of spots that are like for beta testers and visibility and stuff. So I might look into some of those things and see if we can just get a little bit of exposure. Again, not to sell, but just to get the feedback. Okay, now that's it for Meal Coach. Dev leader, super excited that I finally wrapped up my big project. I am 3 weeks ahead of schedule. So I'm pumped. I'm pretty sure if everything goes as planned, it will be available on Monday, which is, I'm really excited. It's a lot of work to put together, but I think it's going to be sweet, and I think people are going to enjoy it. And I'm hoping to do more as well. So I don't want to give it away exactly what it is right now because it's not necessarily for me to release. I'll say it that way. But going forward, I think it's probably fine if I'm public about it. And in fact, it might have already been okay if I was talking about it. I just didn't clarify, so I don't want to kind of go against any sort of contract. But yeah, otherwise, content creation's been going pretty well. I've been doing my 3 videos. I finally caught up on getting articles and stuff together, so back in the groove. But I'm trying to use some analytics to see where to drive improvements. One of them is YouTube thumbnails. I have a horrendous click-through rate. My YouTube coach, which is sweet, I have a YouTube coach, but it's through vidIQ. I like their tools, and they have a. I started with their coaching program when they first launched it, so it's not too expensive, and I'm happy that I kind of got in early on it. But my coach and I have been talking about like what are the areas to drive more improvements, and because the click through rate is so low, he was saying he wants me to like 15 to 20% click through rate would be really good, um, and I'm at like 4. And it's interesting. I was looking at a graph. I started the year at like 1.5% click through rate, so like pretty abysmal, and it's up to 4. So it's really cool to see this graph throughout the whole year. It's up and down or whatever, but it's trending up, and I've gotten to about 4% click through rate. So he was like, okay, like next step, 6%. But that means thumbnails. I have to change my thumbnails. I'm probably going to try and experiment on Fiverr. But the reality is because I don't have income from my videos, I can't afford like I can't afford to be paying people for thumbnails on every video until I'm making money from my videos. So I will try the experiment at least, and if I can learn how it's done, I'll handle it for a bit. And then one day, hopefully, if I'm earning money from the videos, I'll pay someone for thumbnails just so I can outsource it. It's not something I enjoy, and if I can, it's going to take time. So if I can get my time back and pay for it, I'll do it. So that's one thing on YouTube. Otherwise, I think everything else is going pretty good there, but the click-through rate's just really bad. And if you think about it, if I if I could get my click-through rate up from 4% to 6%, that's literally 50% more people watching my videos. So the click-through rate is incredibly valuable. Um, the other thing that I noticed, and I'm kicking my ass for this, I wanted to make sure that like a lot of the reason I'm getting my so many articles out is I'm trying to leverage SEO to get traffic to my website, but the goal right now is that not I'm not selling things on my website except this membership that you're able to watch these videos. The goal of driving traffic to the website right now is to get people to view the articles which have the videos embedded in them. I want to grow my channel through this website, right? And then once I have the channel grown, I want that to be like basically screw SEO from Google. I mean, I'm still going to be doing articles and stuff like that, of course, but I'm really hoping that I can use my channel as this big source of viewership to drive people back to the website, and then I can offer more things on the website that are monetary. So I'm kind of starting with the website to get the channel up, and then I'm going to reverse it, hopefully, right? I'm just thinking the YouTube channel will scale better than like making videos every week versus writing all of these articles. Like I want to slow down the article writing at some point because it's a lot. Um, but that's the plan, and I can't remember exactly what I was going to say. Oh, I'm kicking my ass for this because all these articles that had the videos embedded, I had a checkbox in one of the plugins. This is so dumb. Um, to make them load quicker to get better page speed, I was using an option that would basically make it a facade player, and then as soon as you interact with it, it would switch to the real player and automatically play. But because it uses the automatic play setting from YouTube, you don't get views. And I've had thousands of people viewing my blogs, and I know that they're getting video watches because I can see it in Google Analytics. None of them count. None of them have been counting for this entire year, and that really drives me nuts. Like I feel really stupid for that. So I unchecked the box. So now if you're watching videos on my site, you'll have to click basically twice. It's kind of weird. You click and then you click again to make the player actually play. But I'm hoping to see some improvement there on my stats. And the reason why this is important right now is, especially for the watch hours, is I'm not monetized. I want to get to this monetized status so I can see roughly what I make per video. And then if I make enough to cover, um, the thumbnails and stuff, great. I'll immediately outsource that, right? I just want to start getting time back. So that's a bit of frustration, but it is what it is. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the dev leader front. Oh, yeah, in terms of stats, like if I look at my social media platforms and I look what other people are doing, LinkedIn is growing slow and steady. I'm happy there. I feel like I'm getting in a groove. YouTube slow and steady. We kind of just talked about that too. Instagram's been going up, which is great because it was stalled for a while. TikTok is dreadfully slow. In fact, TikTok was one of the best platforms I had right in the beginning. But I think once I got to like a couple hundred followers there, like I'm like trapped in TikTok hell where uh I only get between 200 to 300 views on anything I post. So it's almost like it's the if I had to speculate about how their algorithm works, if it's similar to YouTube, again, more speculation about how it actually works, that when they go to sample an audience to put the video in front of them, I feel like I'm only getting into their like initial sample sizes and then nothing's sticking. So I never break out of this 300 range, whereas um, other people that have more interactions and views and stuff, they'll be getting tons and tons, but I'm trapped. If you go to my TikTok page, you'll see aside from stuff that was earlier, I feel like there's only a couple videos that ever break past 300, but otherwise it's literally 200 to like 315 kind of thing. Every single thing. So I'm not sure what to do on TikTok yet. I've heard people say you have to post like 5 videos a day, and I don't know if I can do that. But Twitter is another one. So I see that a lot of the tech people obviously are on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, well, I used to have a Twitter account that I think had over 1,000. I don't think quite 2,000 followers, and I had that for forever. But with that Twitter account, there was a point a few years back where I was doing a lot, and I don't really anymore, but a lot more in crypto where I was trying to follow different things, and I felt like that Twitter account was kind of just polluted. Like it felt bad to use it. Like when I go on there, I just couldn't navigate it. So I said, screw it, I'm gonna start fresh. And I started fresh with this new account, and it's been incredibly slow to get any traction. But again, with all these social media platforms, there's different things that they're looking for, and a lot of them are prioritizing engagement. I feel like YouTube is the only platform that I probably don't have to respond to comments or do anything. I could probably just post videos, and I mean, interacting helps, but I feel like I could get away with growth without actually doing some of those other things. But Twitter, not a chance. I have to be interacting. So I'm trying to find ways to get a little bit more FaceTime on Twitter because I need to do it to grow. So just looking for creative ways to do it without wasting a ton of time. But honestly, I think that's about it. Just some social media growth ideas, and yeah, the big project that I finished up. So I think that's it. Not too long today, almost 20 minutes, about 17 minutes. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I will see you next week, hopefully, with more awesome updates. Take care.